Good morning. Good morning. Kind of an oddball day yesterday. A little bit of an odd day yesterday. It was just a little bit weird seeing Bitcoin gap down as much as it did on Sunday, and then a bit of follow through yesterday, and then again a little bit lower overnight. Oh, cool. You're from Colombia, Leo. I'm half Colombian as well. I was just there last year. A very beautiful country. Estuve yo en Medellín el año pasado. I was just in Medellín last year. Man, CSX. I believe this is a train company. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, railroads. And then there's a few other of these that I thought I saw getting beaten up. No, they kind of look like crap anyway. Union Pacific, CP, NSC, CSX, CNI. MBIS, yeah, I bought this one yesterday. Just a slight little bull flag into the 20-day. And, I basically just bought it as just taking a prior day high, and I'm hopeful that it goes. If it doesn't go, it's pretty tight risk anyway. So, yeah, that's exactly right. Aldrich, that's good thinking, in my opinion. I saw that NVIDIA released that chip that's like the brain for robots. And obviously, Figure AI is one of those companies who is using it, or I believe that's what they're called. They're the robotics company. And then I also noticed this RR took on a bunch of volume yesterday. So there's a positive there. And then obviously Tesla. I did get positioned in this one yesterday. So, we'll just see if it goes. Go ahead and take out 813's high. If it can, I would consider adding to this, but, market dependent. Small cap LIF, what's needed to take it? It was way cleaner in here. See how this thing was going up and then sideways, digesting for you? It ends up creating a nice tight range for you to get involved, right? So right there obviously was perfect. What day was this? 7/14, right? And here, that's the kind of move you want to catch that could push away from your average after things are nice and tight. But up here, more digestion. Anticipation, CJ, I'm confused. What do you mean by that? DRD? DRD, no, this isn't a good setup, right? Are you really going to come in on day number 5 and buy this thing, right? Like, what's a good setup about DRD? You know when DRD was a good setup? On 820, right? Again, when things were nice and tight. Like, you want to come into these things when they're against their ascending moving averages. After earnings, nice and tight. You know, if you probably looked at it and you go back and study your entry, well, what do you get? You get a push up in the morning, and then you just get this really nice, clean consolidation. So, like, even on the smaller time frame, it's the same thing, dude. Right? It's basically the exact same thing. Right? You get the exact same thing. You get a move up, you get sideways. But what do you get? A break of the prior day high, right? Which is the important part. So where's your entry? Well, what's the high here? 15 bucks, a nice psychological whole dollar level, right? So you get your high, right? Obviously, you get a bit of a pullback into the 20-day. Then the next day you have earnings. And if you really wanted it, it's way too thin, but 15 bucks, you know, was really good with your stop at low of day. You know, buying it way up here, not saying it can't keep going higher, but are you really looking to buy it on the 5th green day in a row? Like, how much more juice is in this thing before it pauses, right? You want to catch these explosive moves so you can sit in the pause. Yeah, I don't think ALAB looks bad. You know what I personally am waiting for on ALAB is just for NVIDIA to report earnings. The last thing I want is to buy any semiconductor in front of NVIDIA earnings and then NVIDIA just take the sector down, right? That's such an important name for the sector. There are nice looking setups within that sector. ALAB, CRDO, right? AMD. Whoops, AMD. You know, this still looks fine too. MU looks okay. You know, AVGO looks okay. You know, for the most part, these names are just hanging in there. And I wouldn't come in to buy any of them this close to NVIDIA's earnings. Just let NVIDIA report, and then you can kind of come in and get it. Go Grocer. Is that what this is? Is Go Grocer? Yeah, it is. Grocery outlet or whatever. Okay. It's close enough. Dude, I probably wouldn't trade this thing, to be honest with you. Nice little setup, but look for this kind of setup when you're, you know, on the upper right-hand corner of your screen on the chart. Right? Like, it's fine, but it's got a level to play off of. 1858. Oklo is ready. So I'm very confident about that. Yeah, maybe. Nice little tight day. Maybe. Was there news today? $92 price target. Bank of America. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's already gapping up. I don't really want to chase gap ups in this market, and especially price target increases. I mean, that's just not good enough news, right? That's just a price target increase. That's not like some material change. MGNI looks fine. It got a little sloppy on the right-hand side, but you know, the way you really want to buy things right now in this environment is against descending moving averages. Right? Like 2 days ago, Friday was good over prior day high as it reclaimed all key moving averages. Right? So like right in here was just beautiful. And look at the pickup in volume there. You think somebody else noticed it too over prior day high as it reclaimed all key moving averages? Just beautiful, right? As it reclaims all key moving averages. Look pretty good. I don't know though. What makes this name so special? I'm not sure what group they're even in. Advertising agencies. I mean, how's that group even doing for the most part? Let's look at the biggest ones. AppLovin, yeah, that one's been pretty good recently. TTD, this one's been total shit recently. OMC, kind of crappy. IPG, kind of crappy. WPP, kind of shitty. Kind of shitty. Not so great. Not so great. So that's probably the problem with MGNI, man, is the group kind of sucks. Outside of AppLovin, the group sucks. Lorena, cool. Hell yeah. Thank you for being here. LASR. And too extended. Nice flat base through here, but again, it got a little sloppy right before earnings. It looks like it's in an uptrend. I just don't have a spot that I would buy this thing here. Right? This thing just went from it's just tripled, quadrupled off the April lows. Right? You just need a little bit more digestion here. Could it keep going? Yeah, but it would have to keep going without me because I wouldn't buy this thing up here. ANET, I like ANET. More digestion would be good. But, could just bounce right off the 20. We've kind of seen these before, right, where these things make these big move ups, like these big move up, right? And then they'll just pull back into their ascending moving averages, and then they'll just surf just like this. And then eventually they'll pop right back up. It kind of reminds me of the price action that LEU is starting to give, like right in here, right? So it looks kind of like this, right? Big move up, pulls right back into the 20, surfs the 20 for a few days, and then just takes off, right? Kind of reminds me of that ANET. See what it's doing right now? How it just continuously finds support against the rising 20. Kind of reminds me of that LEU. And here I'll unlink them for a second so you can see it side to side. Although these aren't on the same time frame, but see what happens right here? Same thing. Right? Nice big move up, pull back into the 20, surf it for a handful of days, and then take off. So similar deal for ANET, possibly. Thoughts on NVTS? They're just like an NVIDIA play, right? They're not really up for their own accord. I mean, this just is a potential double top up here. We're below the 50-day. I don't really see anything special with NVTS. Does TAN need a new base before getting involved? Actually, I like the way FSLR looks going into today. Talked about this in last night's watch list video. I think this looks pretty dang good. Like, I like this inside day. I like how tight this is. Will it just hold the 20 after a big explosive move? Like, I don't think this was Aunt Sally coming in for this thing on big volume. Right? Like, look at the volume spikes on this thing. Look at this thing. Here, 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 right here. Look at these two. Look at those volume spikes. All of the biggest spikes are all green bars, right? I'm pretty sure that's accumulation with any, trading book you'll ever look at. They'll call that accumulation. So, and then look at the way it just kind of dies off in terms of volume. There's nobody really selling here. Like, yeah, okay, one ugly down day, a little bit of a pickup in volume, but ultimately, pretty low volume. And then you get a super tight inside day. Becomes pretty easy to manage risk if we can take out today's highs. So I don't know that it needs an entirely new base. This is also the trend on this is up. Right? You break yesterday's lows. There's no need to be in it. You're above yesterday's highs. Could be pretty good. SMTC. I think they reported yesterday, didn't they? Yeah, they did. They reported yesterday. I mean, some people will call this a bull flag. Not bad. Not great. CRML. Yeah, but a small cap kind of metals name. Nah, I can't play this one personally. It's just sloppy, right? Like, where do you get involved in this thing to limit risk? I don't really see the spot. Right? Like, how exactly do you get involved? This thing is just like channeling upwards. Right? It's not really giving you some flat area to get involved. It's just channeling. I mean, it could be in a good theme, but can't do anything with it. Upstart. Yeah, Upstart's got some work to do to clean, this volatility up from earnings. Nothing for me here personally. Not yet, anyway. SATS. Oh, wow. 51. What the hell? Yeah, I personally won't be. No, team, I will not be buying any stocks on day one earnings. I'm not sure if you've been paying attention this earnings season, but outside of like Reddit and A-Lab, name me 5 other stocks that have gapped up on earnings and then not sold off. And go ahead. You can type them in whenever you're ready. Yeah, what I like about Tesla personally is 1, that robotics theme, and 2, the weekly chart on this thing. I mean, this is a super tight weekly chart. The consolidation on that thing is insane. Can I explain my sell strategy on a position percent-wise? Well, on a typical position, 3 to 5 days, I like to sell a third to half, depending on the push and how it's acting in comparison to the market. And then for every extension more than 7 times its average true range, at 7 times or more its average true range from the 50, I trim 20% of what I have left. And I keep trimming in 20% pieces until I'm effectively out. Yeah, NVIDIA could be good after AMD's earnings. I saw AMD was up this morning because they're going to collab with IBM on some quantum stuff. I kind of laugh at the whole quantum theme because IBM's been working on quantum since the 1980s, guys, almost 50 years, and quantum's still not here. So the fact that it pumped up this morning on the word quantum just makes me chuckle. But it is what it is. It's still a hot keyword is what's really going on. What do I think of RNA? Yeah, looks good. Looks like a nice high type flag is setting up. Yeah, I don't want to think too negatively of it. This thing looks pretty decent. Almost like a cup and a handle. How do you manage risk when you add to a position? CJ, very simply, I treat it as if I didn't own it at all. Hopefully that makes sense. I pretend I didn't own shares before. If I'm going to add to my position, I treat the ads as if I didn't own the position at all. Yeah, I wouldn't be buying any stocks gapping up on earnings today. In general, this entire earnings season has been a landmine where you buy stocks that are gapping up and they completely sell off. Like I said, with the exception of like Reddit and A-Lab, that's been a pretty bad bet this earnings season. Bless you, babe. What do I think about UNH? Interesting yet? No, not for me. Right? When the 200 simple moving average is falling, yes, one day it might get up there, but it's still not in an uptrend. Bless you, babe. But it's still not in an uptrend. So that's the only problem. The biggest moves in the world do not occur below the 200 simple moving average. Could it be a nice trade if this thing trades back to the 200 and it's a 50% gain? Yeah, sure. But it's got all of these people here who are dying to get out, right? So it's like you're always kind of fighting overhead supply. And the best trends in the world occur above their 200 simple moving average. Like, just go back and look at Palantir. Look at this move. Look at what happened when it got back above its 200, and look at the move. The biggest moves occur. Like, am I concerned about a 50% move in UNH? Like, oh my God, I might miss 50%. Or would I rather try and catch a 1,000% move with something above the 200? Right? I mean, you have your answer. Right? The biggest trends in the world don't occur below the 200 simple moving average. They never have. They never will. Mathematically and otherwise, the best stocks are above their 200. They trend above their 200. They are above their 200. Nothing occurring below the 200. Thoughts on symbiosis? Yeah, it looks all right. I mean, you know, if it can finish getting up above the 50 and setting up the right-hand side of the chart, could be nice. Nah, it's not that special. Looks okay, but doesn't look that special yet. EOSE, this is a pretty big base too. Yeah, it's not bad. It looks like it's probably due to go here soon if it's gonna. Roku, nice comeback after the gap down. This is like a tennis ball. This is exactly what you want to see. You know, maybe another higher low and you can buy a higher low. Do I ever average into trades? I don't know what that means. I will add to my winner and buy another setup higher, but I won't average down into trades if that's what you're talking about. My thoughts on you, another one. Nice tennis ball action, right? Nice job bouncing back on this earnings dump. But again, this is why I won't buy earnings gap ups, because you can just get this action every now and again. And it's happened a lot this quarter. Yeah, you know, Seco is fine. I just don't see a beautiful spot to get involved here. It's extended from the 50 is the only real problem. SoFi looks good. Yeah, if you're in it, let it work. I don't own it, so if you're in it, let it work. No, I don't physically input a stop loss unless I'm going to be off of my computer. But if I'm going to be sitting there, then I'll just take my loss at the low of the day. How the hell do I remember all these charts? How many hours would you consider looking at charts daily? I mean, I do this for a career, man. So not everybody wants to look at charts as much as I do. I don't mind it. I love it. I kind of look at it like one big puzzle that's like constantly changing. So I'm like constantly building a puzzle in my brain. You know, this looks like that. This runs with that. These things are moving together. This is the nice setup to get into, like improving my situational awareness, etc. But a normal human, I mean, if you're a day trader, you're also looking at charts all day long, but you're looking at smaller time frames. Swing traders, you know, they want the freedom to get off the desk. I started as a day trader, so I've always been comfortable looking at markets, you know, for a big chunk of the day. But, you know, I am a swing trader. So, I mean, dude, I spend 10 plus hours every day of my life, you know, looking at markets and charts. So, yeah, I'm probably not like your normal human being in terms of like remembering stocks and names and how they moved and what they looked like and, you know, setups and stuff like that. You know, not a lot of people Probably spend more hours. Dude, AS is fine, but it's just so choppy, right? Like I said it before and I'll say it again. Like when you gap up on earnings, I don't want to deal with this shit. Like if you don't go anywhere for an entirety of a quarter, I'm good. Like could it continue higher? It could, but I'm good with it. MLR, good morning. Yeah, RUN is fine too. You got RUN, which is acting well. You have Sedge, which is acting well. You have NXT, which is also acting well. Probably, one of the best of the bunch. And then my favorite personally is FSLR. But, there's a handful that are acting well. How to catch the next RGIL? What the hell is RGIL? Doesn't even come up. MSI Motorola. The only problem with MSI, not that this doesn't look like a clean little pennant, it's so slow, man. Over the last 20 days, it's moved 1.5% per day. I mean, I'd like you to make money, before 2030. BTAI is a smaller cap that's still holding up. RNA still looks pretty good. APLD also hanging out there pretty well with the these are the data center plays. So kind of lagging, obviously. Iron, what I would say is your leader. And then you also have Wolf, obviously, with the partnership with Google. And then you have Hut, which I also happen to like as well. So eBay was a leader recently, and all it's done is stop to consolidate. Nothing wrong with this. Again, only issue with eBay is it moves so slow, man, 2% per day. Lemonade, the insurance company, it's just got to tighten up, build out the right-hand side of the base. It had a high volume close setup, $47.93, but call it $48. Nothing really to do with it here. Lilly's already in a stage 4 downtrend. Yes, timely press release, but it's back at prices not seen since yesterday, basically. So, call it a timely press release. It's below their 200, man. Like, you do not want to be in charts when you're below your 200. Just look at ANF, okay? Just scratch the name off of there. When you get below the 200, it can get real dicey. Look at a setup like Sedge back in the day. I'm not saying, ANF is going to, or Lilly's going to do the same thing, but when you break the 200, you could even retest the 200 from the downside, and then it just implodes, right? I'm not saying that's going to happen to Lilly, but, this 200 day sloping down, man. You want to just leave it alone. Leave it alone. Yeah, UMAC, a drone name. This one's going to be kind of moving with ONDS and PDYN. I mean, this one brushed off its earnings really well. Yeah, PDYN kind of looks like crap. ONDS just a touch extended. And UMAC probably the tightest. But, Rocket Mortgage. Yeah, just let this digest a little bit more. Oh, yeah, I saw that. AT&T buying licenses from EcoStar. Yeah. I saw that. Yeah, but still, I'm not really buying these big gap ups, man. Just if the news is awesome, it'll gap up. It'll have a high volume close, and you can deal with it after the fact. Yeah, SYM, if it reclaims the 50, could look pretty good. Is my selling strategy different on the short side? On the short side, I like double top short sales, and I like break of key moving averages. I like rejection of flattening and declining moving averages. Really easy spots to manage risk against. Well, actually, I like TSSI as a short. It just never gave me a chance to get in. How do you like stocks below short-term MAs like TSSI, which is getting tight on the 50, Well, it's not getting tight on the 50. The 50's at 23.50, so it's about $10 underneath it. It's getting tight on the 200, and that's no good. I liked it as a short up here. I wish I'd have taken it because that was a nice $14 move lower. But yeah, it's not getting tight on the 50. It broke the 50 on this earnings day, which is no good. MP was indeed nice. Probably your leading rare earth play. No, KSS is not a good watch list idea. It's a good trash bin idea. You take that idea and you throw it in the trash. You don't want to deal in these stock pumps, dude. This is a total dog shit stock. When's the last time you gone to Kohl's? Be honest with yourself. When's the last time anybody you know that knows somebody who knows somebody who's gone to Kohl's? How they're still in business is beyond me, being completely honest with you. With that much square footage, the last time I went into Kohl's might have been a decade ago, and there may be 3 people in the entire store. You know, is it a short watch list candidate? You know, maybe gives a little pop, you know, whatever. But ultimately, this name's probably a bankruptcy. Yes, in 2020 and 2021, I traded a ton of sympathy plays, a bunch of day trading. A bunch of day trading, tons and tons of day trading, sympathy plays. So I talked about it in, you know, pretty much all the interviews I've done. I'd go back and kind of watch it, and I explain exactly how I did it. But that's how I also got kicked off of my broker. So probably not something I recommend everybody do unless, you know, you want your broker to hate you. So I also don't think you get away with it, you know, just scalping with a ton of market orders on sympathy plays, because environment's totally different. So you need the environment as well. INVZ, too thin. Too thin. You don't really want to trade stocks that are trading $12.5 million a day. Looks good. I mean, looks fine. I clearly drew a line here for some reason. I thought it looked pretty good down here. But Modine looks good. A little extended from the 50, but looks good. Yeah, it is possible. And the reason that this can happen is because it's limit orders only, right? There's no real sellers in the morning. What do I think of Reddit? One of the few names to act really well after earnings. You know, if this thing can hold the 20-day here, could be good in a couple of days. Well, we'll see when Baba reports earnings. I'm not really looking for anything in particular until I know what the reaction is like on earnings. But, you know, we do have somewhat of a nice little flat pivot here. And obviously, if we can get through this level, we'll have to fill the gap. But, you know, we'll see what happens if we can get over this little flat pivot. The daily looks like a big volatility contraction pattern. Yeah, Zeta could be good above prior day high, but I don't personally love it. Let it get moving a little bit more. iTub, slow. 2% per day, too slow. MedP, isn't this a biotech? I believe it is. Or is that MDGL? Is this diagnostics and research? Yeah. It's got to clear the high volume close. Not on every stock I trade. I don't always check EPS growth on every stock I trade. And sometimes the reason I don't is because I'm just trading a theme, right? And sometimes the theme isn't it's just in like a small or a mid cap. No, AS is still trading like ass. I'm not going to answer this one, dude. This is just a pump, dude. There's nothing good about NNNN. One of these days, it's probably down 70, 80%. You should know what you're trying to buy before you buy it. There's a reason I wasn't answering it. Yeah, NVIDIA after, or TSM after NVIDIA earnings. Same with AVGO. Same with AMD. Same with CRDO, AMD, ALAB, etc. Thanks, babe. Yeah, PGY looks fine. Don't necessarily love this bar, but done a nice job digesting it, since. MP's a little extended, maybe, but it was buyable yesterday if you really wanted it. Right back through the 20-day. Yeah, XPEV to me is probably the best acting electric vehicle name from China, without question. And gapping up this morning back to 24. Very nice. How long did it take for me to build confidence in swing trading, and how can one shorten the time frame? Probably took, a full year. Yeah, DAL, UAL, these things are acting a whole lot better. And how can one shorten the time frame on, you got to execute. You got to execute, and then you got to use proper position sizing. You have to use progressive exposure, and then you just got to do it and see the results for yourself, where you realize you can be wrong a ton and then still do really well. Yeah, Delta Airlines and United are probably the two best acting. They don't look terrible, right? The whole travel and leisure thing, I'll also look at something like Wynn, and I'll go, you know what? Some of these like hotel, gambling, travel, leisure, like they got something going on. Yeah, Joby. I don't know that it's shortable here, maybe a little bit more sideways, but if you lose the 50, you can use that as a guide. It sucks. I had a short on 811 and I got stopped out the next day. I thought it was rejecting the 20. It didn't. And MBIS, I bought MBIS yesterday. I think it looked like a nice little bull flag, coming into the 20-day. I wish I would have bought it a few days earlier, kind of on the undercut of the earnings low against the 20. $63 would have been better, but hindsight's 2020. Wriggle? No, too extended. Way too extended. Like, what are you exactly supposed to do with RIGL? Like, where's the tightness? So the stock just doubled in price and now you like it? Like, where is the tightness? Don't you want to catch this move? And look at how tight it got, by the way, over here. See these moving averages? See how tight they are? Right? See what it did on earnings and price started to expand? Right there you go. You could have bought this if you really wanted it. But nope, now you like it. It's like, dude, you're way late to the party. And I'm not saying you're late to the party because it won't keep going up, but you need to let it tighten. Like, look at how absolutely extended we are from the 50. And now you like it? Like, what the hell is there to like about it? It's 70% above its 50-day moving average. And it moves 6% per day. I mean, you want to catch a move like this. You don't want to be the sucker buying up here. Like, what? Why would you do that? I just personally like the way FSLR can trade. Right? Yes, we have some more overhead supply, but I like the tight day. Yeah, I mean, NXT and FSLR are both fine. Yeah, COM, they're selling a piece of their business. I just don't love it here. Nice gap up on earnings, selling a piece of their business. No, Hood is a pullback to ascending moving averages would be the spot. But if you start to lose the 50-day, more particular, if you start to lose 820s low, that wouldn't look too great. You as an undercut and rally. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really see a good entry on this one. This went from insane volatility to right back up into highs and then now capping up even higher. Yeah, I didn't really see a spot for this one. Yeah, the drone theme. I'm still watching AOI. Yeah, it's just a little sloppy, so leaving it alone for now. No, I would leave MP alone for now too. Buy it as it's going through ascending moving averages or pulling back to them. Yeah, I don't know if I'll add to Tesla today. If I do, the market would have to be bouncing and acting well, and then I would buy Tesla and then keep a tight leash on it as if I didn't own it at all. Like I won't just bring up my cost basis and then widen my stop. A giant cup and handle on MUX. Yeah, but it's super thin, man. You guys need to avoid names that trade like 10, $12 million a day. You guys got to realize like there are people, who are sitting in their homes like myself who've taken positions bigger than this, dude. Like you don't want one person to be able to come into your stock and just totally destroy it because they've been accumulating it for the last few weeks. Like 10 million bucks, guys, is peanuts. Yes, it looks fine. Yes, it can go higher. Yes, it looks pretty decent. Yes, it's maybe building a little base and finding support at the 50. Yes, it's nice and tight. Yes, it's an inside day. It's got all the little superlatives which you can give it and be like, oh, you finding a reason to get into it. But it trades 10 million bucks a day. It only takes one asshole to come in and ruin your trade, right? It's really like find stocks that trade way more liquid. Please do yourselves a big favor. You'll be much happier in the long haul, right? Why do I say that? Because institutions can't be involved in names like this. They just can't, right? If an institution cannot be involved, then you just deal with so much whippy volatility. Although it's gotten pretty linear, it's gotten fairly clean, nice move up, some sideways, some continuation, a new base. Like it's doing all the right things, but it's just still so thin. So institutions can't really play in that pool. And if they are, they're playing with such small peanuts, they probably aren't even here. Yeah. ETH a higher low setup? Well, it'll only be known in hindsight. But it could be that it was buyable, effectively near the 20-day. Look, the way I kind of view cryptos is they're a commodity, right? So treat your entries as you would any commodity, which is pullbacks to ascending moving averages, right? You don't really want to buy commodities on breakouts. They're choppy. Gold, crude oil, silver, copper, metals, right? You just don't really want to buy like the only real things that are like truly worth it on breakouts are like young growth names, tech stocks, software stocks on breakouts, on good news, on earnings, etc. Commodities, always pullbacks to ascending moving averages. Much easier, less headache. They tend to be more choppy naturally. So food for thought. CRDO through 118. Yeah. What are your thoughts on waiting for NVIDIA's earnings? Yeah, 118. So basically through these highs right here. As it's reclaiming this nasty down day, basically. What's this high here? 116.74. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. I feel like maybe you got to be a little bit quicker with something like this because of NVIDIA's earnings. BMNR, I would avoid. Like, why BMNR, a company that's diluting? Like, look at this price action, dude. You just made a move from 31 all the way to 68 and then all the way back to 45. Like, you really want to be in a stock that can drop in a few days 30%? Like, how people are even holding that is beyond me. And I don't know what there is to love about a BMNR. Like, why would you want to own BMNR when it moves 16, even 13% a day, when you can just own ETHU, which is directly correlated to Ethereum, without the dilution risk, and it moves just as fast. ACB, Aurora Cannabis. I mean, I don't think it's one of the better acting ones. You know, I think Tilray was clearly the one, or MSOS. I think about timeframes on the dailies, and then I go to a smaller time frame to look for confluence on a smaller time frame to what I'm seeing on a bigger time frame. FTAI, not a bad one. Yeah, not a bad one. Nice little tight day here. I mean, I don't hate it. Big old base after a huge move up. Yeah, back testing's fine. The only problem that people don't tell you is a back test is a setup on its own is irrelevant, right? Environment with that setup. If you're not thinking about the environment and the group in the context of a setup, like if you just look at a break over prior day high and you go, oh yeah, that was a perfect entry. And then, you know, like you just condition yourself to think that it's always a perfect entry, because there is no one perfect entry tactic. Environment is much more important than the entry tactic, right? Much, much more important than the entry tactic. So kind of good to think about, you know, as you're doing your back testing. What was the group doing? What was the environment like? You know, and what kind of entry tactic was I using when I was back testing? So good to think about, guys. I got to get going. I will not be here the rest of the week. I'm actually off to do a site visit for the wedding location. So I'm out of the country for the next couple of days. You guys, please be safe out there. I will see you all Monday. Markets closed, so I will not see you guys until this time next week. Please trade them safe. I will try to make a daily recap video just based on what I'm seeing on scanning. But if I can't and I just don't, you know, I'll kind of communicate via tweets or messages on YouTube. But otherwise, I will see you guys all next Tuesday. So, yeah, you guys please trade them well. Be safe. Any questions, you guys can always write me on X or anywhere. You guys know where I'm at. So I will talk to you guys later. Please be safe out there. Trade them well. And I will see you guys all in a week. Thanks, guys. Cheers.